At this hour, I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. President Donald Trump has released his plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim democracy from Washington corruption. Watch.
First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption, and there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. Sixth, we will make every Inspector General's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. Eighth, we will continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies, and then they want to take jobs from these companies. It doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
According to reports, Kamala Harris's presidential campaign finished its failed attempt to capture the White House with more than $20 million in debt. According to Matthew Boyle, a campaign staffer told him that there is a massive scandal here worthy of an audit. The staffer blamed the campaign manager for spending enormous amounts on concerts with people like Katy Perry, Lizzo, and Eminem. According to that staffer, many people who worked Kamala's campaign are still waiting to get paid. In addition, a study from the Media Research Center showed that Harris received a 63-point advantage over Trump when it came to positive mainstream media coverage. Trump getting 15%, with Harris sitting at about 85%, which, according to the MRC, equals upwards of $3 billion in earned media coverage. The Democrat mayor of Atlantic City is facing a new accusation that he asked his daughter to lie about how she sustained a head injury. Marty Small Sr. was charged with witness tampering involving the girl. He and his wife, Laketta, were previously charged with assault and abuse. Prosecutors say Marty Small asked his daughter to say her head injury happened when she tripped and fell in her room. However, Small's lawyers call the latest charge sheer nonsense and says Small asked his daughter to tell the truth. Small's wife is the superintendent of schools in the New Jersey seaside gambling resort City. A man charged with fraud for claiming to own a storied Manhattan hotel where he had been living rent-free for years has been found unfit to stand trial. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office said doctors examining Mickey Berto decided that he's not mentally competent to face criminal charges. Judge Corey Weston gave Berto until November 13th to find a suitable inpatient psychiatric care. Berto's attorney, Brian Hutchinson, didn't immediately respond to a phone message for comment, but Berto did tell the New York Times that he does not have a drug problem and is not insane. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance sat down with Tucker Carlson to explain what comes next as President Donald Trump is set to take office in January, saying Trump will fire all the people within the federal government who work against the will of the people and will start mass deportations, which he says will trigger the media to kick into high gear, attempting to manipulate the public and derail Trump's presidency.
If the people in your own government aren't obeying you, you have got to get rid of them and replace them with people who are responsive to what the president is trying to do. There are all of these really subtle ways in which the media, the tech sector, the people who call the shots try to manipulate the American public and manipulate political leadership into not doing the things the American people actually want. So guys use public polls, they use the media, not even just to manipulate public opinion, but to manipulate our leadership about what public opinion actually says.
Republicans have knocked off Democrats in 2 hotly contested U.S. House seats in eastern Pennsylvania. U.S. Representative Scott Perry survived a challenge in southern Pennsylvania, while 6th-term Representative Matt Cartwright and 3-term Representative Susan Wild were defeated. The losses come as the GOP's U.S. House majority hung in the balance. Republicans have now recaptured a majority of the state's congressional delegation. A federal judge has temporarily halted the planned execution of an Idaho man on death row whose first lethal injection attempt was botched earlier this year. Thomas Eugene Creech was scheduled to be executed by lethal injection November 13th. Which is about 9 months after the state first tried and failed to execute him. Execution team members tried 8 locations in Creech's arms and legs on February 28th, but could not find a vein to deliver the lethal drug. A U.S. district judge issued the stay this week to allow the court enough time to consider Creech's claims that prosecutors acted improperly during his clemency hearing. Creech's defense team also has other legal cases underway looking to stop him from being put to death. That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina, Aguayo, Salem News Channel.